Raubex was founded by Koos Raubenheimer in Bloemfontein in 1974. It focuses specifically on roads and related infrastructure development. It has a market cap of 3.6 billion rand, price to earnings ratio of 8, and a dividend yield of 6. I'm hoping at the end of the show we may have one of these companies with at least a PE of more than 10. But let's see. Raubex, for you, 8, and given the concerns that we've discussed, I don't want to preempt that discussion. I'm hoping that you'll give me some detail that would suggest that the graph that we're seeing here has been harder on this stock than perhaps is warranted.
Well, yes. So you can see the market has been hard on Raubex. Those PEs and dividend yields that are quoted are historical in nature. I think that's important to show and to mention, because it does mean that in a cyclical industry, your PEs are cyclical because your earnings are cyclical, and therefore your dividends are also cyclical.
Sure.
So looking forward, it's not quite on an 8 PE and 6% dividend yield. They are focused on road building, and that's one sector that has been relatively resilient, especially from provincial levels.
Right.
So you had quite a lot of spent in Gauteng, as we all know, that stay here with all the new toll roads and the widening of the roads, as well as some activity in the rest of the provinces to work on their roads. So in that sense, it's been better than the others.
So if you were to price it on forward earnings, then where would you put it? Would you be buying it now?
As far as I remember, Raubex are about to come out with earnings, or they just came out with earnings. And based on that, I think it was around 50 cents or so, but I don't have the number in my head. I just know that it's not an 8 PE stock, because they might get to just over 1 rand of earnings. So on this current PE, not quite 8.
Absolutely.
And I think, what's important to note is Jean-Pierre's dead right about the road building. And remember that the e-tolls were closer to resolution than ever before, so that should stand them, I think, in good stead.
Right.
But I had a look, since the show was done on the stock in October, I think 2/3 of their contracts have been SANRAL related, and another one was a big road. So it's even heading more towards just being completely driven by roads. And the problem is the margins used to be quite a bit higher, and I think they've halved in this time. So maybe that little run up there is a little bit of positivity around resolution around e-tolls, because we've got these lovely roads, but seemingly no one wants to pay for them. I bought my e-tag last year, January, because I'm a nerd.
And I am saying to people, go and buy those tags. We need those freeways to remain as freeways, not gridlocks where you get stuck in traffic for years. But so, are you suggesting that the focus on roads is going to be negative or positive for them going forward? What are you saying?
Look, I think there's a lot of infrastructural development, not only in a South African sense, and there's a lot of routes that need to be redone, but if only you needed reminding on your reliance on provincial governments, then take a trip down to Harry Smith, and instead of going down the pass, go around the side, because that road seemingly construction's been completely halted, and it's almost the Wild West out there. So government's payment and their commitment in further years, I wonder about whether or not Raubex are going to be more selective. That might be good for their business, I think, and having a customer like SANRAL in maybe the bigger urban areas and doing those contracts specifically, that might hold them in good stead. But one worries always about the margins in all of these businesses.
How far out is that turnaround, do you think, potentially? This is the big question.
I think it's still a while to come. It's
what
not
is a
on
while?
the horizon.
What is a while, Jean-Pierre?
It could be a few years. So because of that, what you have seen, the silver lining for them is that Free State Road contract that was a big problem, because it seemed like that tender was not issued according to guidelines, and therefore there was no work done. A settlement has been reached in the Free State, so they have got some funds that were released to them. But one of the competitors, Sanyati, actually went insolvent because of that. So that shows what could happen in this industry, that if you don't have a turnaround, if you don't have a pickup in activity as a construction company, you can go to the wall. That's not the case with Raubex. They've got a much stronger balance sheet, but that is a risk. I just want to highlight one other thing, and that is that late last year we had a shortage of bitumen in the country, the sticky dark stuff that keeps the roads together. And Raubex were quite good in terms of buying canisters to import the bitumen and actually store them for when they needed them. And that means that they were still okay, while some of the competitors that we'll speak about a bit later tonight made losses on road contracts because of a bitumen shortage.
You didn't say bitcoins, you said bitumen. Okay, I just wanted to make that clear. So for you, Raubex, hot or not?
From all the stocks we're looking at tonight, I think its positioning in road building only is good. That's a decent sector within construction. But still, with all the issues we have and the possibility of a penalty from the Competition Commission, I would say not hot.
Not hot. Not hot. Okay, I was going to ask you how long you think they'll remain cold, but let's park that for now. Sasha?
Not hot either, I think, for many of the reasons that Jean-Pierre highlighted. You know, I just think probably even longer than 2 or 3 years, maybe even half a decade. We'll just have to wait and see.